done.
Yeah, very old.
When you get too excited here.
Yeah.
Hello, Wendy.
Hello, Wendy. It's Wendy. Oh, I am Wendy.
It's Wendy.
Oh, well,
Cut
it's
that.
similar.
Cut that. She's really always phoned on the phone. I've got the phone number for you.
I used to do.
5 years now. 5 years.
Your fault.
There's photos. Good to see you. I'd just like to say welcome. My name's Nihill MBE.Roy Hudd. I'm the current chairman of the trustees for the Spilett Games Club. Today is quite a special day for us, and hopefully a special day for some of you. It's very much an alumni event. Old boys and old members of staff there, and kind of reminiscent. As I say, thank you for coming. Some people have made quite an effort to come down quite a way. And I won't bore you too long with rabbiting on. I'll hand over to our two-star today on what we're going to name a couple of halls after them, a couple of rooms for just to kind of remind current kids in a kind of way of life and outstanding personalities that pass through the doors of SPG. And on my left, for those of you who don't know, is Paul Nihill, OBE, and
there's a funny way to spell Paul.
Yes. For its numerous schools and records to his name, of which the Olympic silver medalist in Tokyo 1964. On my right, this gentleman probably knows, that doesn't need much of an introduction. You've probably seen him on TV at some point. He had his own TV show back in 69, 68.
Yes.
I think imagine that it was Roy Hudd.
Yes.
And it's been recently on TV or something else, I think. I will hand over to these two gentlemen, but I just want to present them the plaque. What will be, one's for this hall, will be the Paul Nihill Hall, and the other one's called the day room, what will be Roy Hudd room. And I'd just like to present them with that, and I'm sure they'll be glad to say a few words to you all. Cool. In honour of SPG, everyone past and present, I would like to give this a play. You could have had half all. Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah, Paul.
Well, I'll hand over to
Ladies and gentlemen, They want to know who's going to speak last. Well, this guy here, there's no way I'm going to I can't follow that. But then I said to him, if it was in a race, it would be me first. Very, very honoured. It's hall in my name. Philip Gaines had 3 halls. I boxed in the first hall, I boxed in the second hall, and this is the third hall. If anyone wants to fight afterwards.
We can put you in the box in this hall if you want.
Philip Gaines had a fantastic boxing section, and I joined in September 1950. I was a little tot. You can see the leaflets out there. I was the smallest guy, and I have to say this on record. The first boxing tournament I ever saw in my life was the Sir Philip Gaines one at Scarborough Baths near Surrey Street, and the first boxer I ever remember seeing box was Johnny Law. Give us a wave, John. Johnny Law was the first boxer I remember seeing live, and next to him, Dennis Reed. He was also on the bill. And Sir Philip Gaines has a fantastic boxing tradition. It's very sad they no longer have boxing, but I was trained by Albert Gill, and then later Arthur Dunner. 2 great trainers. They couldn't do anything with me in boxing. I was, well, okay, I suppose, yeah. Later on, we had the Chapmans. We had Ray Chapman and his son Tony Chapman, who helped train Frank Bruner. We heard of him, yes? Yeah. And Tony's there. Nice to see you. Obviously, I was better at athletics, so I pursued athletics. And we have in this hall today, we have the winning cross-country team in the Croyden Championship in 1959. And that's John Flynn, John Quinn, myself, and the man who used to win everything, Stan Rogers. He was a bit of a golden with it. It took me 30 years to beat him. 30 bloody years. But now never mind. Couple of people here today. I'm an Addiscombe boy. I love Addiscombe, and they brought out 2 books from Addiscombe, the Book of Addiscombe, Volume 1, Volume 2, and Steve and Anne produced the book. And it's a wonderful book if you can get hold of it. I think Smiths has still got copies. If you can't get hold of it, it's in the Croyden Reference Library. But they're 2 beautiful books on the history of Addiscombe, very, very close to my heart, and I was so indebted to them for doing this book. Thank you. Go on to other guests here. Now, we all know Roy Hudd, but his original partner was Eddie Cunningham. Where's Eddie? Eddie Cunningham in the front row. My late brother Alan was in concert party, and my mother used to paint the scenery. But I remember Roy and Eddie in the canteen here, these 2 dear old ladies used to serve us, and they had drinking chocolate, a penny a time. And I used to borrow a penny of these 2 geezers, you know, because they were older boys than me. I don't think they got the penny back.
No, we didn't.
But it's been, I've known Eddie and Roy, I know we're not exactly mates as such, but I've known them 57 years, is it? No, I don't know how long, I know that. I had hoped our friend Colin McLean would come today. He went down ill yesterday. And it was genuine. I'll tell you, Colin McLean is a handicapped person, knows Roy very well, knows me very well, and unfortunately he fell ill yesterday and he was ill, and he offers his apologies. I've got all my family, I've got my 2, I can't even remember now, I've got 2 sons, daughter, Andy, my wife, and my cousin. So all good wives, yeah. Never ever forget my days with the Philip Gaines Boys Club. John here, I introduced John, he became the boys' chairman. John Quinn here, he's a rock and roll fan like me. He goes, rock and roll dancing at his age, would you believe? No. Anyway, all my friends I've known
get his name right. I think it's an anagram of algae-pan. I'm not sure. It's terrific to see everybody. I couldn't believe it walking in here. None of the lads who I was at this club with look any older. Especially me. But this is a terrific, it really is a terrific honour. But honestly, just like Paul, this did really change my whole life, really, coming to Sir Philip Game Boys Club. I've got to tell you, at the time when it first started, when I first joined, I remember the Daily Mirror had a front page, and on the front page of the Daily Mirror, the headline was, "The most dangerous town in England." This is no kidding, and underneath was a photo of about 6 Teddy boys all walking along Croyden High Street. And I was at school with all of them. But so that was what Sir Philip Game's idea was, to stop the terrible dramas that were going on in Croyden at that time. It was a rough old place, you know, and the club that he formed and the couples who worked here, they were just absolutely ace. They changed so many people's ideas and approach to things. And how I first joined it, just coming over the bridge there, Addiscombe there by Gloucester Road, there used to be a little cocktail shop there, you know, and it had a thing in the window and it said, "Would you like to play table tennis? If so, come to 38 Moreland Avenue, Sir Philip Game Boys Club, and you can join, so you can play table tennis." I thought, well, that'll be for me, with my friend Ron Farragut, who lived next door to the Fox Under the Hill in Lambert's Place, where we had our first drink, folks. Still haven't paid for it. And so I came here, and they said, yes, they signed up, we could play table tennis. But as you look on the list, it said you've also got to sign for an improving activity, right? And I looked down the list of improving activities: metalwork, leatherwork, carpentry, car maintenance. Oh God, this is all I need, you know. And right at the very bottom it said concert party. Now mine was brought up by my gran, and we used to go every week to Croydon Empire, and I always thought this was terrific. So I put a tick by the side of concert party. The best tick I've ever had in my life. I promise you. It's where I met my friend Eddie. We went on to do all sorts of odd things. But I came down here, and the concert party was run by an old performer called Tom Cooper, not Tommy Cooper, Tom Cooper, and his wife Doris Cooper. And they ran their shows in the old hall here, the David Della Hall it was called. They ran it like a professional company. You couldn't have had better training if you'd have gone to Rome or anything. And he was one of those, old Tommy was a real taskmaster, wasn't he? Oh my God, he knew what he was doing, good old Tom. And funny enough, just looking in that hall there used to be a plaque in the old hall there which said, the David Della Hall. And it was right at the back. And that was Tom's first bit of stage direction he ever gave any of us. He said, when you're looking out the front, look at that plaque where it says David Della. Don't look at your feet, don't look over there, look out there, and everybody will see you. But that was my beginning in show business, really. All sorts of memories came flooding back today, really did. And I was trying to tell you the lads in the boxing section, Pat Maloney, you remember Pat Maloney? Yeah. Well, you know, he was a character, wasn't he? You know, bodybuilder and all that stuff. And when we used to finish the shows here, we used to go up to the end of Moreland Avenue and hide behind this wall and spy on Pat Maloney, because he was having a bit of a ding-dong with a woman who lived round the corner. And we used to look over the top, there's old Pat snogging his food. So we learned more than boxing and acting. Yes, I cannot even begin to tell you the things that Croyden means such a lot to me. I'm still absolutely devastated to see that the Leslie Arms has closed. That pub, well, I tell you, that really was the first place where all of us ever had a drink. Was to finish the shows straight up to the Leslie Arms. Always led, need you ask, by any company. So up you used to go, couldn't believe it was closed. So many of the old pubs are closed. Fox Under the Hill gone, all of them, you know, which is sad. And Croyden is an odd place. Now, it hasn't, to me, got the community feel it had when we were all kids here. And I think that's a shame, because you've got this beautiful building here, marvellous organisation. The community should be much, much more involved. That boys' club, as it was then, got so many, it's kept so many of us out of trouble and really did put us on an entirely different path, as Paul was saying. Now, I've never had a room named after me before. I have to tell you, the lavatories are terribly impressive. It was a bucket in John Rawls' office when we were there. But in that lav there, isn't it marvellous? And even better are the mirrors above the stalls. Have you seen them? They're all like that, the mirrors. It's great, you look so slim. But I do, it's odd to come and do something like this. Never happened before. And I must be honest, forgive me saying this, but I do feel a bit today like the new vicar, about to give his first sermon. He's very worried about, so he rings his bishop. And he said, I'm giving my first sermon on Sunday. The bishop said, I know, and I shall be there. He said, well, don't say that. He said, what do you mean? He said, well, I'm nervous enough already. He said, you don't need to be nervous. He said, you're a very devout young man, you'll do marvellously, you're a good communicator, be perfect. He said, well, I'm very worried about it. He said, look, have you got anything, any little sort of trick or anything you use to calm yourself down when you've got an important thing to do like this? And the bishop said, well, I have, but don't tell my congregation. But he said, whenever it comes to an important sermon, he said, I always have a small whiskey just before they go into the pulpit. He said, I find that settles me down beautifully. He said, oh, thank you very much. He said, that's all right. He said, I shall be there on Sunday. He said, right, thank you. Comes to the Sunday, the church is packed. It's a long time ago. You know, so his place. So he's in the vestry getting ready. The bishop's there sitting on the front pew and he's getting ready. He's shaking like a leaf, so he thinks, this is it. Small whiskey, small whiskey. Still shaking like a leaf. There's another small whiskey. Doesn't feel any better, so he has a big whiskey. This is feeling even worse. And two more big whiskies and suddenly he's on, up in the pulpit, and he does his sermon. He comes off afterwards and in comes the bishop. He said, well, Bishop, how did I do? The bishop said, not bad for a first shot. He said, just 4 little errors. He said, 1, when you finish your sermon, you don't tear up your notes and throw them at the congregation. 2, you walk down the pulpit steps. You don't slide down the handrail. 3, David slew Goliath. He didn't knock 7 bells out. He said, and 4, his sling was full of shot. Now, before Randy and I start to sing, I was going to say, thank you very much. It's a great honour you've bestowed on me. Thanks for having me.
I'd just like to say a quick thank you for everyone who's come down and for everyone here who's given us their support over the last few years of rebuilding. And I'm sure there's some more wine left and a few more sandwiches. And I hope you stay and chat a bit longer. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.